Hello and welcome. In this lecture, we're going to be learning how we can remove execution pins from our own functions and how and when it's a good idea to do this. Let's dive in. So it's a little bit weird that our hasAmmo function now has execution pins when previously we didn't need that. That's kind of made our code a little bit worse. So what is that? Why has that happened? And why do some function nodes require execution pins and other ones don't? Well, it all comes down to something called a side effect. So what is a side effect? Essentially, a side effect is when a function has some sort of observable effect after it has been run. Now, what do I mean by this? Let's have a look at some examples of functions with side effects so that you can understand. Print string. After you have run print string, it is quite clear that something has happened because there is now a string on your screen. You can see that there is a string. Add impulse. That clearly has an observable effect because suddenly the thing that you've added impulse to goes flying off into the distance. Set ammo has an observable effect because after you've set ammo, the value in that variable has changed. Now, at this point, you might be wondering, well, surely every function has an observable effect. Otherwise, what is the point of it? Well, not quite. There are such things as pure functions. What is a pure function? It's basically a function with no side effects. However, it does have return values. So there are values coming out of that function, and that is the entire purpose of the function, is to calculate and give us those values. So again, let's have a look at some examples because this will make it a lot clearer. GetAmmo. That is a pure function. It has no side effects because you can get ammo as many times as you like, and unless you do something with the value that you got out of it, your program, your game, is not going to be any different. You can just keep getting ammo all the time, all the way through your game, and nothing is going to be observably different about your game. Get actor forward vector. That's another one where you could get it as many times as you like. It's not going to change anything until you do something with the value returned. And all these mathematical functions like multiply, minus, greater, all of these nodes don't have an effect on your project until their results are used for some greater purpose. So these are called pure functions, and you can probably see that these are exactly the nodes that didn't have any execution pins because they don't need them. It doesn't matter when I run getAmmo or whether I run it 50 times or one time. It's not going to matter because it's got no observable side effects. So how can we indicate to Blueprint that a function is pure? Well, let's have a look at my test function here. So I'm going to select it in the event graph or over in my Blueprint pane. And you can see that in the details pane, there is a checkbox labeled pure. So if you check that checkbox, notice the execution pins just disappeared. And all we've got now are the input and outputs of this function. Now, this function will get run whenever we need the output. So if I plug this output into a print string, then it's going to run this function before the print string so that it has the result in time to execute the print string. We can do the same with any function where there are no side effects, where there are no observable effects, such as our hasAmmo function. So I'd like to challenge you to make hasAmmo into a pure function. So select it and set that checkbox to make it pure. And what happens to the execution flow now? Currently it was hooked up through the function. Where does it go? Pause the video and have a go. Okay, welcome back. So let's select hasAmmo. We'll check the pure checkbox. And instantly you see that the execution pins disappear and the execution flow that previously flowed through hasAmmo is now going directly on to our branch statement, which is exactly what we want. Now, hasAmmo is just going to be run as soon as the branch statement is run to get hold of the return value. Now, a word of caution, only use this pure checkbox when you are sure that a function has no side effects. Common cases and use cases for this are when your function is simply trying to calculate a value, such as has ammo. And that is why this function doesn't follow the convention of having a verb naming, because it isn't doing something, it is getting something, or it is answering a question. In this case, the question is, has ammo? And in fact, we could even put a little question mark in our function naming, something that you can do in Blueprint that you can't do in C++, which allows us to see that, yes, this function is answering a question. It isn't trying to do something. So often the distinction between pure and non-pure functions are whether it fits with a verb or whether it fits with a question. So to review, let's have a look at our glossary. A side effect is an observable effect of a function we've seen, and we've seen examples of those functions. And a pure function is a function with no side effects, such as these getting functions or question answering functions. That's it for this lecture. I'll see you in the next one.